UFC 253 this weekend, Saturday the 26th. This is your UFC 253 co-main event and main event fight predictions. What is up, you guys? Fight Fiend Migs here, coming at you with a new video. As always, thanks for taking the time to stop by and checking it out. Before I get started, I want to say my bad, guys. I've been kind of MIA for the last last month now. I was going to say 3 weeks, but no, it's been roughly about a month. And I've been super busy here at home, and I had to go out of town. Nothing I'll need to bore you guys with, but we can skip that. I just wanted to say my bad for being MIA for about a month now. On to the topic of the video, UFC 253 this weekend, Saturday the 26th. This is your UFC 253 co-main event and main event fight predictions. All right, so let's get started. I have my laptop here to my right. First off, the fights themselves. The main event is Israel Adesanya taking on Paulo Costa. That is for the UFC middleweight championship. Izzy having the belt. And then in the co-main event, we have the vacant light heavyweight championship. John Jones recently vacated the belt, so now we have Dominic Reyes taking on Jan Blachowicz for the vacant light heavyweight championship. So this weekend's fight card, I guess, the co-main event and the main event are kind of history-making. For starters, we're going to have a new light heavyweight champion. Of course, the title is vacant, as I mentioned, but we're going to have a light heavyweight champion, a new light heavyweight champion since 2011, not named John Jones or Daniel Cormier, which is fucking crazy. Those two have pretty much dominated the light heavyweight division since then. So we're going to have finally a new light heavyweight champion that is neither one of those guys. And in the main event, we have, if I'm not mistaken, only the second time ever that two undefeated fighters have fought for the light or a championship, a UFC championship. The first time being Lyoto Machida and Rashad Evans. Well, I should say Rashad Evans first, of course, because he was the light heavyweight champion at the time. Fought Lyoto Machida and actually lost his title there. Someone's O has got to go, and that night it was Rashad Evans' O who left. Well, so that's history. This is only the second time that two undefeated fighters have fought for a UFC title this weekend with Israel and Costa. And as a matter of fact, kind of another similarity here. I know this one's a little bit off track, but in that fight, the first time two undefeated fighters fought for a title with Rashad Evans and Lyoto Machida, we had a black champion taking on a Brazilian challenger. Which is pretty much what we have this weekend. We have a black champion in Israel taking on a Brazilian challenger in Paulo Costa. Will history repeat itself? Well, we have a Brazilian champion taking that O from the black champion, or a Brazilian challenger taking the O from the black champion. Who knows? But that one's gonna be pretty interesting. I realized that the other day when I was thinking about it. I was like, oh shit, Lyoto Machida was Brazilian, and so was Paulo Costa. Oh shit, on that. So anyway. Just figured I'd throw that in there. But nonetheless, it's going to be a history-making night. So let's go ahead and get started so I can stop blabbering already. I've said this before, and I've said it many times, and I'm going to continue saying it. There is a saying in the fight game that you are only as good as your last fight. When it comes to mixed martial arts, I disagree, because MMA is so unpredictable that sometimes, their last fight isn't a true indicator of a person's style, and, furthermore, an indicator of what will come in their next fight. So what I like to do is take a look at their three most recent fights. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take a look at three most recent fights from Dominic Reyes, and then Jan Blachowicz, and then, of course, Israel, and then Paulo Costa. So we're going to start first with the co-main event with Reyes and Blachowicz. We'll start first with Blachowicz, actually. So his last three fights were Luke Rockhold, where he won by KO. Then a close split decision victory over Jacare. And then most recently a KO punch over a KO knockout win over Corey Anderson. I was going to say Sanders. Corey Anderson, who recently signed with Bellator. So what do you know? Anyway, so those are the last three fights. I like to when I like to take a look at their last three fights. I also watch some of these fights here. Each one of their fighters last three fights, and I like kind of trying to taking bits and pieces from them. The Corey Anderson fight, he won by KO. So I mean, not really much we can learn from that. It was in the first round, and then with his fight with Luke Rockhold, he rocked Rockhold at the end of the first round, and then took him out in the second round. So I mean, he's got the power, right? The one that I was kind of suspect on was the Jacare, where he won by a split decision. That one, that was if I recall correctly, that's the one where like his foot kind of swelled up, yawns. I mean, and he was having problems with like kicking and even like putting weight on his feet. So he looked a little flat in that fight. And it was a split decision ultimately. Let's not forget also that Jacare was moving up to light heavyweight here from middleweight, so the natural light heavyweight was Yan. So yeah, those are the last three fights. We're gonna move on now to Dominic Reyes. His last three fights were against Volkan Ozdemir, which was a split decision victory. I'll get to that in a little bit later on. Then Chris Weidman, which was a knockout by punches, of course. That is in the first round. Excuse me. And then the controversial loss to former champion John Jones, which everyone is saying, he actually won. It was very controversial, of course, because fans and even some of the commentators were like, "Yeah, I think Dominic got this one," but I kind of feel like Dominic ran out of gas there. So we'll touch on those here now. We're going to start first with the Volkan fight. I watched that one recently, again, of course, because I like to rewatch these fights. And I have to be honest, Dominic didn't look that good. It looked like Ozdemir was just a little bit quicker. He was able to control the distance a little bit better, considering he was a shorter guy. He was able to control the distance. And Reyes was having a hard time landing that left. That's kind of like his moneymaker, that straight left down the center, because he's a southpaw. And he was having some trouble landing it. As a matter of fact, he was even taken down a couple of times by Ozdemir. So that fight ultimately was a win for him, a split decision. But Ozdemir was catching him with some stuff, and he was catching him. He was giving him a lot of troubles. I want to say I think his nose might have been like busted, Reyes, I mean, and he was having some trouble breathing through his nose, and he was sucking wind out of his mouth. He had his mouth open towards the end of that fight. So, taking a look at some of these fights here, I see Dominic Reyes. He has gone 5 rounds in the UFC just once, which was his fight with John Jones, and then over here with, if I'm not mistaken, Jan. Jan went 5 rounds against Jacare, and that's pretty much it in the UFC. These guys have only gone 5 rounds one time each. So, of course, the first thing that came to mind was like, well, which guy has the gas in the tank to be able to go the 5 rounds? Both these guys have gone 5 rounds, although I will say that Dominic did look the most tired going the 5 rounds. I was watching, I forgot which one of these fights. Oh, it was the Jacare, or no, I'm sorry, not the Dominic Reyes and Ozdemir. I feel like Jan has that weird like Keith Jardine kind of like style where he's very awkward, but he's kind of slow. I think that Ozdemir is a little bit quicker than him, and I think that was one of the reasons why he was able to give Dominic Reyes so much trouble. Ozdemir, I mean, because he was a little bit quicker on the draw. I don't think that Jan is as fast as Ozdemir, so I kind of feel like Dominic Reyes is going to be able to land that left. He throws a terrific left kick to the body, which is going to land. I think is going to land on Jan, and I also think that that left hand is going to land as well. So you guys can pretty much see where I'm going with this one. This fight, I kind of feel like Dominic Reyes is going to get the victory. I said this before, anybody can take a guess as to who's going to win a fight. They can just flip a coin and get 50-50, right? You got 50-50 chances of getting it right. But when you tell somebody who's going to win and how they're going to win, that's how someone knows, they know their shit, basically. So I don't like to just say, hey, this person's going to win. I also like to say how, even if I'm fucking wrong, whatever. But this is my guess. I'm thinking that Dominic Reyes is going to land that left hand. I think it's going to come kind of early, middle to late second round, I'm thinking. But I suspect that Reyes is going to land that straight down the fucking pipe, and he's going to take Jan out. I'm going to say Dominic Reyes by TKO second round, and we have ourselves a new light heavyweight champion, Dominic Reyes. All right, cool. So, that being said, we're going to move on to the main event. Of course, this is Israel Adesanya taking on Paulo Costa. I have a hard time saying Adesanya. So I'm just gonna call him Izzy because that just makes my it makes my speech a little bit smoother when I just call him Izzy. So we're gonna call him Izzy on this one. All right. So again, these are two undefeated fighters going at it for the middleweight championship of the UFC. Izzy being the undefeated middleweight champion, and Costa being the undefeated challenger. And when I say undefeated, he did lose on the Ultimate Fighter, but that's considered an exhibition bout, so it doesn't really count against his record. Although it's an official, he lost. It's just not officially on his record. Okay, so as this is one of the reasons why I'm a fan of MMA. and the UFC in particular. Sometimes some of these championship fights, like I do not know who the fuck is gonna win. Like this is just such a toss up. I've gone back and forth several times. Going to Starting first with the challenger here, taking a look at Costa's last three fights, it was Johnny Hendricks, Uriah Hall, and Yoel Romero. The Johnny Hendricks was a TKO by punches, of course. We know that Johnny Hendricks isn't a true middleweight. He's not a natural middleweight. He's a welterweight. He's a former welterweight champion. And I probably shouldn't even use the word natural when it comes to either one of these guys, both Hendricks and and Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, they call him the eraser because he looks like fucking. He's yoked like Arnold. So I don't know if I can call him natural, but we all know the history with Hendricks and Usada and whatnot. So I can't call either one of those natural anything. But my point is, the real middleweight was Paulo Costa, and Johnny Hendricks just simply was not. You can tell in that fight he was pudgy. He had his problems with weight before, and he gave middleweight a shot, and it didn't turn out that well. So that fight there with Costa and Hendricks, we didn't really learn a lot from Costa. He was able to take out Hendricks pretty easily. So moving on, his fight with Uriah Hall. This one we did kind of learn a little bit more from Costa because he faced a little bit more adversity here. Uriah Hall was actually able to land some jabs on him, pretty clean jabs, and he was able to beat him to the punch. I think that he was getting a little bit frustrated with that. There were a few times where Costa started going to the body on Hall, and some of the punches strayed kind of low, and he was given a stern warning by the ref. I don't remember right offhand if he got a point deducted or not, but I want to say he didn't actually. It's just a stern warning, but usually when a fighter gets warned something like that, they're kind of gun shy and they don't want to go down to the body anymore because one of those punches may stray low and the referee's going to end up deducting a point, which in a 3-round fight, that's kind of a big deal. But not only did he face adversity with that, but also, of course, the potential point deduction with the low blows, and he was getting hit. He was getting hit a lot. I was impressed with his endurance in this one here. They went into the second round. Paulo Costa, as I mentioned, is a big motherfucker. Like, he is yoked. He's hella yoked. And generally speaking, with these guys that are big, their cardio, their gas tank just isn't that good. Well, with this fight with Hall, he threw, and he threw hard, and he just kept throwing and did not stop throwing. And ultimately, his power overwhelmed Hall, and he ended up getting the TKO win in the second round. Granted, it didn't go the 3 rounds, but he was able to throw hard that whole first round. And then, okay, so he got a little bit of a break because he did hit Uriah with the low blow, and Uriah was given some time to rest. So maybe Costa recouped a little bit as well. So maybe that's what happened. But I was pretty impressed with the fact that he was able to go hard for as long as it did and ultimately overwhelm Uriah. So I think that was his real, like, true first test, that fight there with Hall, and he passed with flying colors. I was pretty impressed with Costa at that point. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit, this guy might be the next dude. All right, so his most recent fight being against Yoel Romero, the Soldier of God, of course, Mr. Cuban, Yoel Romero. That was actually a very entertaining bout. That fight he won by unanimous decision. That did go the full 3 rounds, but it did look like he kind of ran out of gas there at the very end. He was like sweating. I mean, he was tired. His hair was all fucking sweaty, and he was just like, he was trying. There were a few times where he was trying to lure Romero in, but Romero wasn't falling for that because we know he's kind of a counter fighter. Romero, I mean, and he does tend to fight in spurts, so he doesn't really explode the whole fucking time. So he was kind of almost letting Costa off the hook. He wasn't putting pressure on him, and even then, Costa still kind of ran out of gas towards the end of that fight. But ultimately, he did get the ultimate, or the unanimous decision win, and again, he did face some adversity. I think his face was kind of bloody there. I don't know if it was from his nose or where exactly it was from. I don't recall specifically, but he was bloody, and sometimes when fighters see their blood for the first time, they kind of panic a little bit. And with an experienced fighter like Yoel, Costa was able to keep his composure, and he got himself the unanimous decision victory. So, excuse me, that was pretty impressive. I felt like winning that fight against Romero was going to put him in a good position for a middleweight title shot, which ultimately did come, but I should say did come, but like it was scheduled before he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was injured, and then they actually had to put Romero and Izzy, which is a nice segue into Izzy's last 3 fights. His last three fights were Kelvin Gastelum, which is a victory, a unanimous decision victory, which was 5 rounds. Then a win over Robert Whittaker in the second round, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was by KO punches. And then it was the aforementioned Yoel Romero. Okay, so, oh, by the way, of course, he did win that one. We all know. I guess I don't have to repeat myself because Izzy's undefeated. We kind of know this. So he's won his last 3 fights. Talking about Izzy here. Starting first with Kelvin Gastelum, that was a super entertaining fight. Of course, being Latino myself, I was cheering for Gastelum, and in that first round where he kind of stunned Izzy a little bit with that lunging right hook, I was like, "Oh shit!" Me and my pops were like, "Oh, what the fuck? He's got him! He's got him!" So that was a really entertaining fight. Ultimately, it didn't turn out that well at the very end. Of course, I don't know what it was about Kelvin that he just wasn't able to keep up that pace, but he did cause Izzy a little bit of problems. Of course, he fattened up his lip. He stunned him a couple of times, specifically on the feet. He threw this one high kick that I don't know if Costa throws high kicks, but Kelvin threw this one high kick that kind of like landed on him, and Izzy kind of was stunned a little bit and moved back and was starting to backpedal a little bit. So he faced some serious adversity in that fight. And on top of that, he went 5 rounds. So we saw that he was able to go the full 5 rounds. He was able to overcome the adversity in that fight against Kelvin. And he took a good ass punch because, Kelvin's got some pop. Even at middleweight, Kelvin's got some serious pop because, he's fought at welterweight before and he's fucked up some good middleweights. And Kelvin has some pop in that left hand. And, Izzy was able to take it. So that fight showed me a few things from Izzy. Besides the fact that he can go the full 5 rounds, that he can overcome adversity in the ring, he's got that heart. The next fight was against Robert Whittaker, which was, oh, by the way, that fight with Kelvin Gastelum was 5 rounds. That was for the interim middleweight championship. His next fight was against Robert Whittaker for the undisputed middleweight championship. That took place in Australia, Melbourne, Australia. All right, so that one he won by second round. So a second round KO punches. That one I'm a little on the fence about because Robert Whittaker, I feel like, might have gone into that fight with the wrong game plan. He kind of was fighting like the challenger. He was coming forward. He was attacking. It almost like he had the sense of urgency. I need to take out the champion. And that wasn't the case. He was the champ, of course, and it was supposed to be, well, I guess supposed to be Izzy coming to him and trying to take the belt from him, but he fought the other way around, and all Izzy had to do was just kind of back up and catch him coming in, which is exactly what he did, and took out Robert Whittaker in that second round. He was able to use his reach in this one here. I'm talking about Izzy, and it was good. He gets attacked, like in this fight with Gastelum was one coming forward, and he was able to handle it. Against Whittaker, he was coming forward, and he was able to handle it. There's where he won his middleweight title. The fight after that, Yoel Romero, his first UFC middleweight title defense, wasn't that entertaining of a fight because why? His opponent wasn't coming forward. Plain and simple. Yoel is a very smart fighter. He knows when to take risks, when not to take risks. It was a bit of a stinker, because neither fighter did anything. Neither the champion, said, I'm going to seal the deal in this third, fourth round and go after the challenger, nor the challenger say, hey, I'm 40, whatever the fuck Yoel is. I'm only going to have maybe one last chance, or this is the last chance, and take advantage of it. He didn't even do that. So it ended up being a bit of a stinker, and we didn't really see much from either guy. Izzy didn't do much in that fight. If anything, Romero did even less. So, we didn't really get too much from that other than, of course, an Izzy unanimous decision victory. Izzy, not easy, Izzy. Well, I guess it kind of was easy because he didn't, Romero didn't exactly do shit anyway. So those were the last 3 fights. This one, as I was saying, I've kind of gone back and forth a few times because I kind of feel like I believe Costa when he says, like, Izzy is just a skinny dude who I'm going to fucking, break in half. And I'm like, yeah, you probably can because he's got that pop. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Izzy, he's got that endurance. He's gone 5 rounds. He knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to handle fighters coming at him, which is pretty much what Costa's going to do. So this one, I've to the point of now, I still kind of undecided. But I'm recording this video, so I'm going to have to make a decision here. After watching these guys' last 3 fights, I have to say that I'm going to have to go with Izzy on this one. I know it's easy, of course, to go for the for the favorite, which, by the way, I believe he is the favorite. I mean, I know he is the favorite, but I have this William Hill app on my phone, and Izzy is minus 170, while Costa is plus 150, I believe it was, or 115. And then, oh, also in the co-main event, Reyes was at minus 270, while Jan is at plus 230. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to have to go with Izzy on this main event here. I feel like he's going to be able to take Costa into the deep waters, third, fourth round, where Costa has never been, fourth round, I mean. So I think that he's going to be able to get Costa to wear out, basically, and use suck up as much oxygen as possible, because those muscles are going to need it. I'm going to have to say Israel Adesanya by I don't know if he can stop. Shit, that's a good one. I don't know if he can stop Costa. I'm gonna have to say no. He's not gonna stop Costa. It's gonna go the distance. He's gonna win a unanimous decision. Where I'm gonna go with Israel Adesanya by unanimous decision. He is going to keep his UFC middleweight championship. So just to recap, Reyes over Jan by TKO, second round, I believe. Later second round, and then Izzy over Costa by unanimous decision. They're going to go the full 5 rounds. Costa's going to run out of gas, and I think he's going to get picked apart from the outside. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't want to make this video any longer than I already have. Always want to sneak in fresh, clean teas. If you guys feel free, I leave a link in the description below, or of course use the code MIGS15 at checkout and get yourself some clean ass teas. Also, of course, don't forget summer is not over yet. Actually, summer is over, but the sun is still out. The sun will always be out. So feel free to get yourself some clean ass shades at blenders.com. and use the code MIGS16 and get yourself 16% off of your total. Oh, and just one last thing, guys. Of course, we know this coronavirus is still going on, so if you can, please make sure to put on your guys' masks. If I could just put this bitch on right. Do it for your safety, and do it for everyone else's safety. Please, guys, things seem to be on the up and up. I can't stress this enough. If you can, please take care of yourselves and take care of others around you. Wear your masks when you're out in public. Hopefully this mask doesn't cover my fucking speech too much and you guys can't hear what the fuck I'm saying. But by all means, guys, don't forget, wear your masks. All right, cool. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. My channel has gotten up to 103 subscribers. I actually passed the 100 mark during this gap of me not having any videos. So thank you, guys. Celebration as always. I always want to thank you guys for, watching my videos. Migs, one more time, who do you want to thank? Everyone! That's right. All right. So not to make this video any longer, thank you, guys. I look forward to, seeing your comments or reading your comments in the comment section, of course, and letting me know who you guys think is going to win. If I'm wrong, if you guys agree, disagree, then, of course, always like, subscribe, share, hit that bell button so you get the notifications when videos come out. Have yourselves a very, very good night, good day, wherever you find yourself, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.